What's up everyone, it's Roger here from DisKingdom.com. A quick update for you guys on the possibility that the Zika virus might actually be affecting people booking trips to Walt Disney World. According to a couple of surveys done recently, there has been a whole host of different news coming out that there is basically people are planning on not going to Disney World because of this. Now, with this survey, there was about 5,000 answers with another one, and then the second survey was about double that one there, so maybe about sort of 15,000 people were doing this survey, and it was picked up by Bloomberg, it was picked up by the Orlando Sentinel, so there's kind of some big sort of news sources picked this one up. Now, of all of them, 85% of the people surveyed weren't even going to be planning to go to Disney World, so you can kind of push them to the side. But the 15% that were planning, approximately about 800 of them, it said that they weren't going because of the Zika virus. Now, whether or not this was the way that the question was asked, because surveys can be a bit misleading of how they do it. What is important, I think, for this one here is the reasons of what it is. There was a lot of media over here in the UK that was on the mainstream news saying about the Zika virus being in Florida and that there was a risk. Now, for me, if you are if you're planning on getting pregnant, either if you're the girl or the boy, and you're planning a family, this is a worry for you, and therefore, if you're in an area without the Zika virus, then you are probably thinking, is it worth going into it, or anything like that. So there is going to be an issue. And now, no matter what some people say, there are going to be some people that will turn around and go, we can't go there, I don't want to take the risk, and we'll do it later, or and that unfortunately is going to happen. If Disney, Universal, and SeaWorld have even been giving out free insect repellent and mosquito spray in the rooms, they've also been giving out like lotions and stuff at the parks, that there will put people at rest that are at the parks. Now, there's a lot of comments on sort of YouTube and on Facebook, etc., about people not tending to see too many mosquitoes while they're in Walt Disney World. The Zika virus hasn't yet been reported in Orlando. It has been reported in Tampa, has been reported down in like the Miami area, so it's in the region. Now, if you are in the region anyway, there's a very high chance of it possibly anyway, and it could just be being blown up, very much like we've seen with other viruses, like bird flu and all these different ones. We've seen this kind of things happen before. Now, unfortunately, Florida is going through an instance where there are lots of reasons why people may not go there. There has been a shooting this year, which was, again, we had there was the alligator attacking that poor lad. There's been a couple of really bad stories, and the Zika one is just an additional one on top of that. Disney are expecting to have less people going to the parks. They are planning for that. They are offering lots of discounts. They don't tend to do this. They've been cutting things down, trying to cut costs down. They are expecting things to drop. And it's not just because of those incidents. There are other external influences that this survey didn't really go into because it was only asking domestic people. But there are other more important issues. Brazil has had bad issues with a recession and sort of issues with their whole infrastructure, and therefore Brazilian tourists aren't going to Florida. Now, that's only a small percentage, but that can add up. They aren't going. The big problem, for example, with us Brits is we've just had Brexit, which, while that has not got a major impact on Disney in terms of day-to-day running, what it did do is it sent currencies issues. It's set an air of not sure what's going on. To be honest, it's kind of maybe now a couple of months later, kind of settled down. Things aren't really rushing too much. But the currency issue has caused prices to go up, which has meant people maybe haven't done it. I have been having people that have been making decisions of just holding off a little bit, which is not good. Also, just in general, like currency and problems with in like Europe and stuff. Also, Disney have just kept putting the price up. They've been pricing everything up more and more and more. You've also had there's no major new attractions at Walt Disney World. It's very well established with like the Disney community that Hollywood Studios is basically being built again. With all the Star Wars land and Toy Story land, Avatar area, that's all being built up. There's nothing really majorly new this year to kind of make people want to go. So while the Zika virus obviously has come up in this survey as being a major issue that is putting people off going to the parks, there are lots of reasons why people may be not going to the park, and I do feel like this survey was done in a way that it was not you know, it's pushing over the fact that there is a worry, and I do believe there will be people not going because of it. However, the chances of getting it while you're in Orlando are not. They're not very big. A, because you've got all the repellent and everything. Disney also try to make sure that there are no mosquitoes around anywhere. They do try their best to try and stop it. But also just in general, it's you know, there is not a huge amount of risk, and it might not be quite a bigger thing as sort of people make out. But it does grab attentions. It does grab people's thoughts. And you know, the reaction to this has been very, very mixed. But it's like I said, it doesn't need to be. You know, I know when I was booking holidays this year, there was things that have happened in some countries that I literally just, me and my family, we just turned around and we went, no, we'll go somewhere else. You know, and it's a very split decision. And unfortunately, you know, those decisions can impact on those locations. And there are lots of reasons why attendance might be down in the coming months or in the coming years at Walt Disney World. They were on a rise, and now they're starting to come down a bit. And I do suspect all of those reasons will have an impact slowly. You know, Disney have come out and said that, they're not expecting any major fallout from the Zika one. But they're giving away stuff in the parks. Disney don't give stuff away. That's kind of a big thing. But it will help. If you're at the parks and you see that, it will help you in kind of just, you know, put that theory at rest. But this is the big thing, you know. These kind of stories come out and it can scaremonger and it can kind of create confusion. And I do feel like, you know, if you are of that age where you don't want to go because you are maybe planning a family in the next 6 months or a year, I can see why you would not want to go there. And anywhere in that region, you know, the Caribbean, anywhere in Central America, anything like that, I can understand that reason. And I do feel that people maybe are kind of taking light of it, of why, especially if you're coming out of it. Now this survey, like I said, was domestic. You know, if you're coming from Nebraska or Alaska or something like that, you might not necessarily be thinking of it. But I don't think issues about going to Florida about the Zika virus is the main thing. I think there are so many reasons why people might not be going there. Now, some people could argue that it's great because it means the parks are going to be a little bit emptier. But there we go. I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this. Comment below. Get in touch with us. I'd love to know your reactions on this story. And as per usual, guys, remember, check us out at DisKingdom.com. And I shall see you guys in a later video. Laters.